Travel back in time with a trip inside the Iowa's News Now
The
vault.
Deputy State Building Code Commissioner is coming to the Carver Hawkeye Sports Arena this week because of a report recently provided to him. The report is from Bob Erickson, a member of the Iowa State Building Code Council. Erickson is a union electrician who was appointed to the council to advise the State Building Code Commissioner. Erickson's report charges much of the electrical work in the arena violates architects' specifications, the National Electric Code, and the National Electrical Contractor Standards of Installation. Erickson toured the arena last week. A non-unionized firm, Vandenberg Electric of Pella, is the target of Erickson's charges. Ron Olson is a union electrician who's working for another subcontractor on the arena site. He says Vandenberg's work is below standard.
The electrical installation, unfortunately, is the shoddiest installation that I have ever seen. And there are hundreds, and I'm sure probably thousands, of national code violations. And the national code is a minimum standard set up by trial and error, and it's revised every 2 years for the protection of life and property, and that is not being adhered to at all down there.
Olson and the managers of International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 405 in Cedar Rapids, requested the electrical inspection because they say they have seen repeated violations of safety codes by Vandenberg Electric. Jim Batchelder, assistant manager of Local 405, provided these pictures of alleged electrical violations in the arena. They include these conduit supports, allegedly below the specifications called for by the architect, missing insulation bushings on junction boxes and panels, broken electrical connections, loose fixture wiring, this greenfield conduit that is allegedly longer than the specs allow, and alleged inaccurate wire color coding. Batchelder says Vandenberg Electric won the low bid on the arena because it is saving money with inexperienced help that is not licensed for the most part. He says that inexperience could endanger the public.
If something was to occur during a basketball game, whether it be some electrical malfunction or something because of poor workmanship, we stand a very good chance of possibly having a lot of injury and maybe even a loss of life as far as some of the people in the facility.
We took the union's pictures of the alleged electrical violations to a Cedar Rapids City electrical inspector. Wes Oster has been doing electrical inspections for 12 years and wasn't impressed with the work, and in at least one instance clearly saw a violation.
Would these be violations, or how
Yeah.
could you
Yeah,
describe
those are violations there. Well, that is a sloppy way of hanging it up. Maybe it's temporary. Maybe they're going to do it over.
Well, Wes, can you tell me what your reaction is just to the basic workmanship, or based on what you've seen in these pictures, what your reaction is?
Well, it looks to me like we're in a terrible hurry.
And what does that mean in your eyes?
They didn't take the time to finish things.
Is that,
However, I wouldn't say that there's any building that was ever built, but a good inspector can't go through and find a few of those things.
The electrical union says it warned University of Iowa officials and the architects about possible code and spec violations earlier this summer. A spokesman for the architect told me he does not recall the union raising these charges, but a letter dated July 26th to Claire Scott, manager of local IBEW, from Casey Mahan, associate vice president at the University of Iowa, stated that the project manager of the arena site was in the process of consulting with the Durant architects about the union's complaints of alleged electrical code violations.
Since then, we've gone down, and the violations, instead of being stopped, have become more numerous, especially violations of the specifications. So we had another meeting with the university last week, and at this time I had mentioned that they not only didn't fix the first violations, that there were numerous more violations and nobody was policing.
Bill Barnes is the project manager, the University of Iowa's man in charge at the arena site. He says he is not worried by the charges of electrical code violations, and he welcomes a visit to the arena by the Deputy State Building Code Commissioner.
We're very comfortable that after the last inspection by the electrical engineers from the Durant Group, which designed the arena, that there were no spec violations or code violations, and I'm quite certain that after their next inspection there will not be any either.
According to Barnes, $378,000 has been spent for testing and inspection in the arena. The construction manager, who coordinates the work of the subcontractors and receives inspection reports from the architects, will not comment on specific allegations or charges made by the union. But Ron Olson says the construction manager's office has got to be aware of what is happening.
The guy that I have talked to, Steve Robinson from Construction Management, I'm pointing out many of these violations to him, and I said, you know, have you ever seen a job this inferior or this shoddy before? And he said no, and told him I certainly wouldn't be very proud of it if I were he or working with construction management. And he said, well, we're not very proud of it. And he realizes that it's a real mess, but unfortunately nothing's getting done about it.
At this point in time, I have no reason to be any more concerned or apprehensive about the electrical work than I have the other work. Basically, this building has undergone more testing and inspection than any building I suspect ever built on this campus or possibly any other state building.